Our second guest joins us from the Oh Yeah Centre in Belfast, which is a decade old this year. It's Chief Executive Charlotte Dryden. Chief Executive.
I didn't choose that. I run the Oh Yeah Centre.
For everyone, for anyone who doesn't know really what the Oh Yeah Centre is, the sort of ethics and the drive behind the Oh Yeah Centre and how it started.
Yeah, well, Oh Yeah is a dedicated music hub in the Cathedral Quarter in Belfast. We've been going for just over 10 years. And the idea was formulated over a pint between our former and co-founder Stuart Bailey and Gary Lightbody from Snow Patrol. And the idea went from, those pints to, will we do this thing? And a wee bit of lobbying with government, but it really didn't work. So it was, let's just do this ourselves. Found this 3-story building warehouse that was formerly inhabited by whiskey warehouse, and it was also a distribution centre for show bands and that kind of things. And there was actually a recording studio in the building. So anyway, long story short, around 2008, we formed the organisation as a charity and a social enterprise, and the Paul Hamlin Foundation were probably one of our early supporters, along with a little bit of help from Snow Patrol. And it kind of went from there. And now it's become 7-day-a-week operation. The venue is the beating heart of the hub, and within it we've got rehearsal rooms. We hire or sublet offices to music businesses. So there's a record label, there's a studio in the building, and then the Oh Yeah as an organisation, we do talent development, we do music tourism. We do youth events, under 18s gigs, and everything that we do is very much about local music, grassroots music. So it's all about the new talent coming through and celebrating some of the big names that have come through as well, and kind of trying to instill a bit of pride.
Do you think that it's a direct result, or at least partly a result of the Oh Yeah Centre being there, that there has been this upturn in musical activity and artists emerging from Belfast?
I'd like to think that we've played a small part in the development of some names that are coming through. I think we're still looking for the big breakthrough in Northern Ireland, who's the next Snow Patrol. But there's some really great talent coming through, and they're doing it themselves a lot more now. And the other thing I think that's really important is there's quite a few new managers coming through in Northern Ireland. That was what was really lacking. So yeah, I think we've played our part, and I think within the area that we're in, the Cathedral Quarter ourselves and the Black Box, it's become quite a gentrified area. The tourists are moving in, which is great. But it's becoming very expensive, lots of restaurants. But we're kind of keeping the original live music thing going.
You should mention some of the other initiatives that you've been involved in starting as well, which obviously embrace, I suppose, different forms of music, encourage different people. You did a Women's Week, didn't you, at the Oh Yeah Centre?
Women's Work, sorry. Yeah. So that was kind of inspired by a Jessica Hopper interview with Bjork, where she said women were invisible. So every International Women's Day, we kind of put on an event, and we did a night dedicated to Bjork and that kind of thing. And it kind of evolved into 3 days, and then it turned into a festival. So now I run a festival called Women's Work with an amazing team of people of all genders. And it's become a really big annual program. And Oh Yeah, probably up until about 4 years ago, I would say 15% of the people that used the building in terms of musicians, bands on stage, 15% were women, but that's very proudly, I can say that's about 45% now, and I think it's because of that festival. So there's a lot of development work within the Oh Yeah and the venue, as I say, is that beating heart of it all.
Do you think, originally, obviously, the Oh Yeah Centre starts because there's nothing there. There's no place for people to go and play and talk, and just mix with other people. So it starts like that, but do you think now it's becoming increasingly more of a catalyst, if you like? Now it's getting more involved in changing the shape of music?
The Oh Yeah Centre? Yeah, we run a festival called Sound of Belfast, which is about celebrating what's great about Belfast music, and the idea for that is to try and turn the spotlight up on the local music scene a little bit brighter for sort of a week across November. We have funders and industry partners that will come to us and ask us and get recommendations from us on what's coming through, who's breaking through. So we've definitely had played a part in probably some of the breakthrough artists in small ways, from like little recommendations to getting them gigs at festivals, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Now it's a decade on. Can you imagine Belfast without it?
No, I hope not. I mean, 10 years actually isn't that long either. I mean, we're still, firefighting every day, and literally, recently the door blew off on the roof, and because of the hurricane, and we had to rip the floor out by the toilets because somebody pissed all over the floor on culture night and wrecked the floorboards. So, what's my point with this? What I mean is 10 years has gone really quickly. It's been piecemeal. We've never had, the whole development of a place has just been so slow. I can't see Belfast without it. I would hate to think that it would be without it. I do think we've become a hub for musicians and young people and older people as well to come in and just do their thing musically.
Best night you've had at the OER Centre?
I was talking about this to my colleague on the plane over. It's really difficult. See, when you work in this sector, you literally go from gig to gig and you bank it because you don't have time to decompress and think about it. So I've kind of forgotten loads of really amazing nights. But Ash did a fundraiser for us. I know is named after an Ash song, obviously. So they did a fundraiser for our under-18s project, which is called Volume Control, about 6-7 years ago, and they rammed the place, and it was amazing, and it was all 14, 15-year-old kids, and everybody singing it. So that was amazing. And all the kids involved in the project all went backstage and sort of hung out with them, and that was like, for me at that moment, it was like, this is why we do what we do.
And that's what it's all about. It's brilliant. Charlotte Dryden, ladies and gentlemen.